It's what's in the end, how things turn out that counts. So cheapness never has an eventual good ending. It's generosity that's where it's at. So I'm going to tell you a story about what happened to me during the pandemic. So as many of you might know, I've been suffering with plantar fasciitis, which is a bursitis tendonitis, painful deal in the bottom of your foot. And I've had it for almost half a year. And with being quarantined, it hasn't been going away. And I haven't been able to walk outside because when I do, it gets so bad, I can't even walk upstairs. Right before the pandemic, I saw a podiatrist here in town. She diagnosed it as plantar fasciitis and she ordered some orthotics for me, which if you were um, younger, your insurance company pays for it. And if you're older, they do not. So taking her word for it, I plunked down all this money. And that was right before the pandemic. In the middle of the pandemic, the office called because they never shut down during the pandemic. I guess they were only one of two medical offices in the large building next to Seton Hospital on 38th Street here in Austin. They called and said, well, your orthotics are in. And I said, well, can you just ship them to me? Because I wasn't going anywhere. I have one kidney, I'm older, I've had cancer in my background, and I used to have chronic pneumonia, but that's all gone now. But I'm also type A, so I kind of have a COVID target on my back. They said, if you don't come in, then it nullifies the warranty, so you're going to have to come in. So that was the first place that I went to during the pandemic. And I put a bunch of masks on me. And, you know, the first time you go out, your nerve, it's a lot of energy because you're thinking of how to keep things sterile. And I'm wiping everything before I'm touching it and carrying around little alcohol wipes. And I go into the building, go upstairs to the 7th floor where the medical office is. You knock on the door because it's locked. They let you in. They handed me the orthotics, didn't test me, didn't measure me, just said, put them in your shoes and see if they feel okay. I put them in my shoes. They said they felt okay. And that was it. I also, by the way, because I hadn't been out much, I was kind of vermished, which is a Jewish word, Yiddish word for a little bit out of my head. So I'd had my purse with me, but no wallet because I hadn't really gone anywhere with a wallet. So I said, well, can I just pay you when I get home? And they said, oh, no, 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 you can't do that. So rather than come back again, I called up a friend and had them give me their credit card and paid for the rest of the orthotics at the front desk. Then I went down to the first floor, out the lobby, into my car, and realized that I couldn't get out of the parking lot unless I had a credit card because the parking cost $3. So I went back into the lobby, back up. You know, each time I'm touching each button, I'm just getting a little bit stressed out because it was my first foray out of the house, so to speak. I get up to the 7th floor, knock on that door, which is locked, get in and say, do you think that you can loan me $3 and when I go home, I'll call you up with my credit card and pay you back? Or do you think you could just give me $3? I'd already spent way over $1,000 in cash at this office. And they said, no, we don't do that. I said, you got to be kidding me. I mean, can't you just loan it to me? And I promise that I will call you when I get home. Oh, no, we don't do that. So I thought I better go talk to the manager's office because I can't get out of the parking lot. So now I go back downstairs to the first floor, assuming the managerial office is on the first floor. Well, guess what? It wasn't. It was back up on the 7th floor, right near the podiatrist's office. So I go back up. Mind you, now I'm like touching surfaces all over the place and getting a bit stressed out, my first foray out into COVID land. I knock on the door that's locked and the woman comes out and says, oh no, we do not give vouchers. It's the doctors, and every single doctor's office can give you just a voucher. They can they can validate your parking ticket, no problem at all. Just let them know that I told you all doctors' offices in this building, except one, by the way, that doesn't do it, but they give all senior citizens then a discount, which these guys didn't. So anyway, I go back to the podiatrist's office, knock on the door, has to get unlocked, go back in and say, well, the manager said all the doctor's offices have the capability of validating the ticket. They said, "We do not validate tickets. We will not validate your ticket." I go, "Come on, guys. I want to get home. Come on." She said, "I'll tell you what we can do. I'm off in 2 hours. If you wait for me downstairs in your car, you can follow me out and go out when I go out." Really? And actually, I had a radio show I had to do in an hour back home. So I go back to the manager's office, knock on the door again, wait for the locked door to be open, and she said, "That is absolutely nuts. They are blank, 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 blank." She said, "You have to go back and say that I insist that they validate your ticket." I said, "Can't you just validate my ticket?" She says, "No, I am not supposed to do that. I could possibly lose my job if I did that. You have to go back and tell them." I went back, knocked on the door, same exact response. So I went back to the manager's office and said, "Hey, dude, you have to take this risk with me because otherwise I'm going to be sleeping in my car in the parking lot." She validated my ticket, which all it took was pasting on a little itty bitty paste on the ticket. And then I went down to my car, home, and gave scathing reviews on Yelp, told my next podiatrist that I started to see exactly what had happened. In fact, told everybody I've met the name of that podiatrist, how chintzy, cheap, and unthinking of even my scenario they were. Um, and I'm now telling you, the only thing I'm not telling you is her name. But cheap, cheap is bad. Cheap begets cheap as hate begets hate. It just turns more and more sour. One of the traits I so respect in someone who's sane and grounded is generosity of spirit. Not an idiot that just believes anybody, but the more that you caretake those around you, the more, and you don't do it for it to come back to you. I know some people are good so they won't get bad up in heaven, they won't go down to hell, but being good in and of itself creates an energetic loop where it does revert back to you and reverberate even around you and resonate to those within your circle and even outside your circle. And generosity of spirit leaves everyone with a good taste in their mouth and nobody writing really terrible Yelp reviews or having this short little tissy fit on the podcast, because it's just hard to believe that that was one of my very first experiences coming out of quarantine in COVID 2020 in Austin, Texas. You can't pay for material like this. Truth is stranger than fiction. Bye.